Hey everybody, back for some Salt and Sanctuary. This episode's gonna be a little different. I took a pause from regular recording to go through all the old areas and find the places I couldn't access before. You know, find the anti-gravity areas, find the hard light barriers, find the things I'd missed, you know? And I came out of it with a lot of grey pearls, which not so impressive, a couple of quests done, and yeah, I figured I'd spend this time, while the footage shows all that, to talk about the story so far. Ooh, and I also found a secret boss. That was pretty cool. To talk about the story so far, and how it's presented. Now, in a very much Dark Souls style, Salt and Sanctuary really throws you in the deep end. You show up on a ship, you get splattered by a crab, you show up on an island, and it's like, find your princess. But the more you learn about the island, the more you realize, that's not my quest. Right? You go in, and it's like, oh no, the princess has been kidnapped, but no, your ship may have been ruined, you may be shipwrecked on this island, but you're not the only one. But, as far as I can tell, you are the only one from your ship. Which, of course, includes the princess. The princess was a passenger on your ship. Now, multiple different things we've seen, and people we've talked to, imply that wherever we are, it's not Kansas no more, right? We have ended up in some kind of collection of scenery from around the world. Firstly, that's actually a really, really cool workaround for justifying how this world fits together. Because if you look at, let's say Dark Souls, the first, for instance, everything there's really dense. In any real or realistic world, there would be a lot of open land separating any one of these areas. And while in Dark Souls 1 everything does fit together, and you can look in a distance and see the things that are there. Not so much the case in Dark Souls 2, but, you know, whatever. In this, they've got castles on top of ruins, on top of forests, on top of beaches, on top of heaven knows what. And from a, like, narrative perspective, from a world-building perspective, why are these things next to each other? And the answer to that I thought was brilliant. The answer is, well, turns out there's some big angry demon, well, not so angry, but certainly a jerk, who's just stealing stuff. He's just lifting shit from the real world. Whether that be people, items, entire kingdoms and swaths of land. He's just lifting these places and putting them, just crumping them together. Crumping them? Sure, he's crumping them together into this just mash of stuff. This just collection that he's built. And that gives them the luxury to focus on level design, to focus on just creating these interesting areas to explore without having to justify why the red key, like the red dungeon or whatever, is connected to the Castle of Storms, and when you move 20 feet suddenly it's night, and the other 20 feet suddenly it's day. It's because your laws don't apply here. Like, that is extra evident when you take the boat east and end up on the western edge of the world. And you're like, wait, I could just keep walking and end up back here. And that's not... Well, okay, technically speaking, that is how the world works. But generally speaking, in the world that was presented at the start, in the big map, you need to walk for a lot longer before you circumnavigate the globe. In this one, circumnavigation is really, really quick. Because it's such a small world. It's just the pieces this guy has lifted. And that's really cool. That's like such a cool narrative explanation for game development, for the technique that has gone into crafting these areas. So props to them for that. Now, I was talking about the princess. We've gotten a couple of hints here and there that she may not exactly be who she appears to be, or who she has claimed to be. Like, the thief we spoke to said how she was meant to be escorting this nobleman, and they turned out to be a slave in disguise, quite possibly. And so the big question is that what happened to us? Is that what happened? Did we get just, like, thrown on this ship and said, yup, guard this princess to stop the war? And apparently we didn't fact check this with anyone, we just hopped on. Or in our case, we were the chef, we just happened to be on a ship anyway. At least that's my headcanon for the character. The princess herself, assuming for a moment she's a real princess, assuming for a moment the premise of the game is true, that we were on a quest to stop a war, or to end a war, or to whatever, assuming that is true, there is no reason to believe that she is where we are. Because if this is some form of afterlife, or some kind of extra-dimensional prison or collection, the beastie, the collector, lifted us. We know it lifted us because we're here. We don't know if it lifted anyone else. So, the only recourse for us, if we are to return to our quest, assuming the quest was even real to begin with, is to escape this place. So the more you play, the more you realize what you told me I'm doing is not what I'm doing. The premise of the game is false. What I'm actually doing is trying to escape this prison so I can return to what you told me to do in the first place. Again, assuming that's even real. And even from the start, it challenges your idea that you're even there for the reason you think you are. Like, the guy at the start literally tells you, oh, well, sure, yeah. It's good that you have a quest, right? It's good that you have someone to keep you focused, because otherwise you're going to go mad. Like, this place is just going to take it from you. And, like, halfway through, you realize there is no princess. You realize you're never going to find her here. So your focus turns instead, alright, I can't find a princess, maybe I can find a collector. And that's where I'm right now. I'm thinking, if I find a collector, I can escape this place. I can go back to the ship, and now that I'm all pumped up on salt, I can defeat that crab. I can save the princess. Because, and here's the trick, right? The rules don't apply. The rules do not apply where we are. The rules of space and the rules of time do not apply. We are in a space that we are sharing with ancient ruins, modern kingdoms, orders of assassins that have long since disappeared from the world. Everything's just been lifted and dumped here, and everything exists outside of time. Whatever the collector is, it is able to... Either it's able to lift things from particular periods and preserve them in this space, and has kept doing so for a long time, or it's able to reach through time and just pick the things it wants. In which case, the realm we're in now, the collector's realm, does not flow in time. Which means that if we are to escape, we would appear right back on board the ship at the moment of our death. Then we would get up, kick Crab's ass, and then the princess would be like, "Oh my god, you saved me!" And then, you know, war is averted, everyone has a good time. Whether or not that's actually what ends up happening, who knows? I don't. This is my guess. I think it's a decent enough guess, given what we know so far. One thing I will say is that we don't know anything, basically, about the figures that we're fighting, the people that we're fighting. So we've come across various kings, beasts, monsters, alchemists, whatever, without any context to them. On occasion you'll find a little bit here and there, but, like, apart from the collector themselves, I don't know who I'm gonna face, right? I'm not going like, well, okay, I have Nito, Lord of the Dead, or First of the Dead, I'm gonna take him out at some point, that's gonna be cool. I'm just like, I'll keep going down, and eventually I find a collector. And that's fine. Like, I'm not so hung up on who these creatures are, because you usually find out who they were, at least after you've killed them. So that gives you at least some idea of what's going on. It's really more of a case of the boss illustrating and detailing the area that they're in after you've already completed the area, right? So after you have finished the area, you look at the boss's soul or their entry and whatever, and you go, oh, okay, so that's what this was about. Whereas conventional wisdom says it should kind of be the other way. Like, as you go through the place, you should gain some idea of what you'll be facing, or who you'll be facing. And I'm going to point to Bloodborne here. And if you haven't played Bloodborne, don't worry, I'm going to explain what I'm talking about. Spoilers. Gonna be spoilers. In the DLC, you end up going to this asylum, this hospital. And you talk to a couple of people there, you find a couple of items and things and explanations which tell you that they were experimenting on these people, they were getting this stuff done, and it was all led by this hunter called Maria. And sure enough, the two bosses of that area are the experiments that they worked on and Maria. We don't really get that in Salt and Sanctuary. We go through an area and we're like, oh yeah, this place is kind of cool. And then we kill the boss. And then it's like, after we've killed the boss, we realize, oh, okay, that's why the boss was here. That's why this place exists. Which is a little bit backward. It gives you the information once you no longer need it. Because after you've beaten the boss, odds are you're on to the next area, right? What it doesn't hurt, and this is a big point in the game's favor, is that the bosses are still awesome. Like, the bosses are still really well designed. To the point where it's like, I don't know who or what this is, but it looks dope. It looks awesome, and I'm gonna have a fun time killing it. Like, the Tree of Men. I was like, what is this thing? How is this here? And the simple answer to that is like, sure, it's just the mass of tortured victims of this place, all congealed into one mechanical flesh monstrosity. It is the concentrated despair of this dungeon. And that's cool. And, like, that's the huge strength of the character designs that they've put into Salt and Sanctuary. Like, I'll use the same example. The Tree of Men is like, you can look at it and go like, I haven't heard anything from anyone about what this is, but it fits in this area. It fits, I know that I can guess, I can fill in the details myself of who it is, what it is, why it's here. And that's cool. So yeah, I'm sure we're going to learn more about what's up with the world, what's up with our role in it as we continue through. And it should be pretty entertaining. I hope you find it as such. I'm really, really enjoying Salt and Sanctuary. And I hope that you are too. And if you haven't already, give it a try. It's a lot of fun. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.